Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series, the 85th anniversary of Marvel. Here we have the Amazon exclusive 3-pack of the CABAL Taskmaster, Iron Patriot, and Dr. Doom. 3, 2, 1, 0? All new figures. So Taskmaster is new because it is on the Vulcan body. Iron Patriot has some new parts, but does have some reuse from the Extremis Iron Man. Dr. Doom is not new at all, but he's got a soft goods cape, so that is something that's really cool. Really good looking set. We got that Doombot head on there, but the Iron Patriot is really cool. I just literally finished the first issue of Dark Avengers, as it was highly recommended by Wade, Unparalleled Universe, and I really enjoyed that first issue, so I'm looking forward to kind of finishing out that Dark Avengers run. But we have an awesome 3-pack of figures here. Again, this is exclusive to Amazon. I don't know right now if it's in stock or not, but they have started to ship out, so I'll have a link in the video description below in case you are able to order it and have it, you know, and hopefully receive it soon, because it's an awesome set. The Iron Patriot does look really nice. Now, just a heads up, if you guys remember when this figure set was first announced, and I think Robo got an early sample to review, the Iron Patriot had silver. It has been changed to a white color. Supposed to be a pearlescent white. I don't really see any kind of pearl sheen to it, but it has been changed to white. So that is one of the questions that I asked the Marvel Legends team, Dwight Stahl in particular, at Comic-Con, was why it would change from silver to white. And he said that the goal was always to have it kind of in this color, but in that early sample it was a different color, so that's why they had changed it. So just a heads up on there. But anyway, on the side artwork, which you can't see because it is quite dark there, we got some artwork of Dr. Doom and Iron Patriot there. Taskmaster's kind of hanging out there in the corner. Oh, duh. Here we go. There's a better image. Everyone wants that Loki, but so far we do not have that version of Loki. There was a very old Marvel Legends version. Oh, it may not have even been Marvel Legends. I think it was part of a Captain America movie wave. There were KOs of that figure around, but it's kind of been a while, so maybe one day we'll get that version of Loki. But anyway, the bio reads, Iron Patriot calls together some of the most dangerous beings in the world to form the CABAL, a volatile alliance that wreaks havoc on the world. So Taskmaster, Dr. Doom, Iron Patriot, let's go ahead and get them out and take a closer look. Okay, and to kind of show you guys how this all, like, yeah, the 3 figures in there, and then we have a separate tray for some of those accessories. So lots of stuff in this pack. Oh boy, here are the figures out of the package. A lot of really good stuff going on with this, which is really nice. Taskmaster, you know, the Vulcan body is just so much better than Bucky Cap. I'll do a side-by-side comparison with the previously released Taskmaster. I will do a side-by-side comparison with this version of Doom / Doombot with the other 2 Dr. Dooms that share the same body and almost the same exact parts. The capes and things like that are different. Then I'll do a side-by-side comparison with Iron Patriot versus the Extremis Iron Man, because again, they're very, very similar parts and things like that going on. I'll kind of put together a Dark Avengers team now that we have this Iron Patriot, and I will do a side-by-side comparison with the old Iron Patriot figure that is severely undersized compared to this one, so it's going to be pretty crazy. Let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start with Taskmaster. We'll go to Dr. Doom. We'll finish off with Iron Patriot. He is the highlight of this pack for sure. Doom is cool with the soft goods cape, but this pack is really all about Iron Patriot. So Taskmaster first, Doom, then Norman Osborn. Okay, here is the up-close look at Taskmaster, and he looks good. Look at that head sculpt. Really nice, you know, you get the skull look, you get the kind of bone color. There's like the way the digital print, it like prints like the shading all over the front of it. I have very bright lights kind of shining on it right now, so I don't think it's coming through as much, but like looking at it in hand, there's like this like almost like wash that's kind of over it. But again, I think it's part of like the digital print, so it's not just like the bone color or anything like that. It does look really good. I like the way the eyes look, all of that. So we'll take a look at the shield. The shield sucks. The shield is the C-clip, the dreaded C-clip and peg system. As you can see there, they're not going to change that. That is forever going to be the thing. I don't like it. It scares the hell out of me because I'm scared that I'm going to break it and whatnot. It is much bigger than the previous shield that we had gotten before as well. Paint-wise, the orange and the dark blue look really, really good together on there. So I really like the way that looks, but again, C-clip, it's dangerous. In terms of additional accessories, he does come with this weapon right here. He has the sidearm piece. As you can see there, we also have the holster on his right leg, so you can holster that there. Other accessories, he has a sword. This is the same sword that we had gotten before. As you can see there, just kind of gold hilt with a little bit of a pearly beige wrap to it, silver for the blade. That looks good. We get the bow and arrow, so we have here, it's just a brown bow, and then like the string portion is just done in like a kind of whitish translucent plastic there. So we have the bow. We also have an additional single arrow, which is cool because it can actually go into the quiver, which I had it in there and now it is gone. So I don't know, where did I, what? Okay, so there's room in that quiver to be able to put the additional single arrow that he comes with that somehow, oh, I found it. It was on the floor. I don't know when I lost it. So we have a single arrow that comes here. It's got a gold arrow tip there. There's room in the quiver for you to put that arrow. So that is pretty cool that it could be in there. And then, you know, Taskmaster could potentially reach for it. I guess he'll have to do that with his left. So he can reach the arrow there, and you would actually be able to kind of position it to where he's pulling it out. So it will fall out on its own, as you can see. It just kind of dumped out there. We also get an extra set of hands. So out of the package, he's got a grip hand on the left. He's got trigger finger hand for the right. We've got vertical hinges on those hands, which is great. The extra hands that he comes with, he's got a fist for the left, and then he's just got an open hand for the right. It would have been nice to get two fists, but unfortunately we do not have that. So those are all the accessories for Taskmaster. They look really good. The figure itself, the Vulcan body, is just really, really nice. It's so much better than Bucky Cap, so it's nice to have this. We get a nice orange color as well. It looks like the dark blue is painted, not the orange where it was on previous. The orange was painted over dark blue and ended up looking kind of bad. Very nice and clean looking here, the way the orange and everything is applied kind of all over. We get this belt on there that's unique to Taskmaster. We get those bands around his legs. Just all good there. The quiver is a part of the cape. It's not something that you can pull off or anything like that, so just a heads up on there. But yeah, this Taskmaster figure just looks really, really nice. I really like the way it came out looking. Yeah, so let's go ahead and check out the side-by-side comparisons with that old one that came out in a Avengers Endgame wave. Okay, so the side-by-side comparisons of the two Taskmasters, and my goodness, the difference that the body mold really makes. Bucky Cap at the time was really, really good. It is just now at this point so outdated, so overused, that it's nice to see this version of Taskmaster in a newer, better body that's got butterfly joints, that has good proportions, that isn't going to be as gummy to where these legs just start bowing and everything like that. The gloves and things are a little bit smoother. There's some texture, but it just looks a lot more clean because the way, you know, like the white, it just has this weird look to it. So I really like, you know, everything that's going on with this newer Taskmaster figure. So it's just so much better than we got there. Alright, so here we have the Dr. Doom or Doombot, since I have, you know, this particular head sculpt on there. So the Doombot head sculpt looks really good. Got the bright red eyes in there. It's just all kind of a flat color that matches the armor throughout the rest of the figure. I will tell you that this armor does not look as good as like the rest, the previously released Dr. Doom figures, as you could see like on his arm. It does not come out nearly as well like on camera versus having it in hand. So each Dr. Doom figure was really different. You know, we had the retro one that had a brighter green tunic. The armor was a little bit brighter in terms of the silver color. The wave, the Super Scroll wave version, you know, a little bit darker in color in the armor. And then this new one is similar, that it's darker than the other one, but this one has more of a bronzish tint to it, if that makes sense. Compared to the more silver of the other ones. So that is the big difference. We have the soft goods cape here, something Hasbro typically does not do for the Marvel Legends line. You know, Star Wars Black Series gets some soft goods, but Marvel Legends typically doesn't. We've gotten very few. We had this Dr. Doom, which had a little bit of soft goods. We had the Beast with the lab coat. And off the top of my head, I can't think of what other soft goods we got in the Marvel Legends line that's all that's really standing out to me. But anyway, we got this soft goods cape here. Nothing special. There's no bendy wire like in it or anything, so you can kind of form the cape in certain directions or anything like that. It will just kind of drape over the shoulders. It's a nice touch, a step in the right direction. You know, at some point maybe they will add in wire so you can kind of shape and form the cape in certain ways. But for now, that's what we got, and it looks pretty good. It's got a weird stitching up here. With the Doombot head on there, it's kind of exposed. But if we swap out the head sculpt for the Dr. Doom head, you won't see it as much. So we're going to pop that off. We're going to put the Victor Von Doom head on there. And as you can see, the hood hides it a little bit, right? As you can see, it kind of sticks over. But here we have this Dr. Doom head sculpt. This is the same one from the retro version. Yeah, it's the same one from the retro version, but it's the different hood. So it's got the head from this one, but the hood from this one, if that makes sense. So this one is a different head sculpt completely. So that is the difference in the Dr. Dooms. And then kind of some of the other difference, obviously the greens are a little bit different. Looks like this tunic is a little bit shorter as well. So the tunic might be new, but the belt is the same. We actually get painted buttons there, which is nice. The little drawstring at the top of the tunic is actually painted, whereas it was all green on the previous two versions. We actually get some like brown laces there, which is nice. But one thing that this Dr. Doom does not have, similar to the retro version, it does not get these buckles on the leg armor. It does not get those painted like the original Super Scroll Wave version had there. So that is a difference there. So while we get that little bit of paint, I think the paint on the buckles of the armor would have been a little bit better. So we have that there. I'd have to go back. This skirt piece might be the God Emperor Doom. Might be the same as that one because it is shorter, but the body itself is the same as, you know, these other green tunic Dr. Dooms. So we have that there. In terms of accessories for Doom, he has his signature gun here. And this looks pretty good. There, he does have the holster there with the D for Doom. So you can actually holster it in there and you can button it closed. We have the Doombot head sculpt, of course, so the extra head sculpt. And then we get extra fists for Doom. So he's got a pair of fists. Out of the package, he just has the open left hand there, and then he's got the trigger finger hand for his right. And the trigger finger hand does have the vertical hinge on it, which is good. So there is Dr. Doom. Let's go ahead and zoom out for the full side-by-side comparison of those previous Dr. Dooms. Okay, so looking at the Dooms, they just modified the skirt piece and made it shorter. So the other ones, it is the same piece. The wrinkles are all in the same spot. They just made it shorter. So however they make those modifications, if it's something in the mold where they just have to redo the mold or they could just cut it off, I'm not sure. Because I, tried to match it with the God Emperor Doom. As you can see, this one does have that longer skirt piece as well. So not the same. So now we have, a few different versions of Doom. And this one is pretty good. I'm really liking it. The soft goods cape does make it a little bit better. He's not so back heavy with that long rubber plastic cape, really bringing the weight of him, getting him to lean back and stuff. I do really like the colors of this one. If there was a way to kind of mash some of these together, like I really like the colors of the Super Scroll Wave version quite a bit. So if I could do like with the brown painted laces up at the top, but if I could have the armor with the painted buckles and things like that with the soft goods cape, I would do that. You cannot remove the soft goods cape because it is glued down. Now you can pop the glue, sure. Customizers, kit bashers, you guys are free to do that. That's not something that I do with my figures, as I would likely just damage them beyond repair. But if that's something that you want to do, I'm sure you guys could all figure it out and make it happen. But let me know which Dr. Doom you like the most, and mine would be a mixture of these two. Okay, so here's an up-close look at the Norman Osborn, and he looks pretty menacing. He looks pretty tired, actually. He's got those huge bags under his eyes. He's got his signature waves up in his hair. It looks good. It is a new Norman Osborn head sculpt. We have a few different ones, from Green Goblin figures or whatnot. I did not bring out any Green Goblin figures to show you guys any side-by-side comparisons because I brought so many other figures out so I can kind of show you guys like the Dark Avengers. But here we have Norman Osborn. The head sculpt looks pretty good, and one thing that I like about this one does seem smaller than the other Norman Osborn heads because it looks like this one can actually realistically fit within this helmet or be pretty close close to it. So let's go ahead and take this head sculpt off. Pops off extremely easily, and then we could pop on the helmet, and then here we have the Iron Patriot look there, and it's got the panel linings there on the front and the front mask, but that looks really good. So I am happy with it. The white doesn't look bad. I kind of like the way the white looks. I think silver would have looked better, yes. And I think it depends on artwork whether it should be silver or it should be like a pearly white. And yes, there is somewhat of a pearlescent sheen to it. On mine, the paint job is not the best, which is a little bit of a complaint. And I'll show you guys that when we kind of get in for a little bit of a closer look. Just want to show you guys, we'll get into the side-by-side comparisons later, but man, what a difference that some time makes. This one did have silver though, which is why I wanted to show you guys. So silver would have been nice, but looking at the Iron Patriot, you know, pretty good. The star looks clean in terms of paint, whatnot. Nothing going on in the back of the figure there. Looking at the paint, like on the white on the side, if you look at my left leg, as you can see, it's pretty sloppy looking. A lot of overspray here on the bottom and then here at the top, so that's a little unfortunate. The right side doesn't look too bad. No real big issues there. A little bit when it comes to certain spots kind of around here, but nothing crazy, and really that's the only issue in terms of paint on my figure. Otherwise, the rest of it, you know, pretty bright red, pretty bright blue. Nothing else in terms of the paint going on there, and it looks like I have a tiny little white spot right there, but otherwise, you know, pretty good. But that just, it bothers me how kind of sloppy that looks. And then in terms of like the pearly white, you can really only see it where it's like here on the legs, a little bit on this upper, no, I think that's because it's sloppy. So I see some of the blue come through. See, it doesn't really look pearlescent, and I wonder if it's just some of the blue coming through, kind of giving it a little bit of sparkle. But it definitely is more of a white color instead of a pearly color. The silver, I think, would have been better. I would have liked the silver for sure. But otherwise, it is red, white, and blue, you know, which is what Norman Osborn was really going for. The symbol that Captain America and Iron Man represented. The best of both worlds. You got Iron Patriot, so you can kind of have that going for him there. So let's go ahead and now see the side-by-side comparison with that previous Iron Patriot as well as the Extremis Iron Man. One thing I forgot to mention, kind of looking at it, there's a little bit of sparkle in that blue, so it gives off a really nice metallic look to it. I don't know if you could see kind of some of the sparkle in the blue plastic there, but that's pretty nice that we kind of see that. So as you can see, a little bit of that like glittery look to it, so I like the way that kind of came out looking. Yeah. Okay, so what a difference some time makes. I don't know how long ago this one was, maybe 12, 13 years ago, maybe somewhere around that. Just not good. But this was even undersized of a figure even back then. So, you know, I don't know what was going on. Now, there was like variants to this, right? I think wasn't Extremis the variant to this one? Or no, I think this one did get its own release. Yeah, because Extremis had the stealth one was a variant, and then this one got a release. And I want to say, was it the Ironmonger Build-A-Figure wave? It could have been. You guys let me know down in the comments below if my memory serves me correct, but I think it may have been the Ironmonger Build-A-Figure wave, which had Iron Man 3 figures, and I think it had the Lieutenant Colonel Rhodes Iron Patriot version potentially within that same wave. But I could be misremembering, so you guys let me know down in the comments below if I'm way off or not. I think the blue is a little too light on there, but the silver looks nice, and it's I guess you could, well, the more I look at it, I mean, I guess it could be argued that it's like a pearly white, but this new Iron Patriot is just definitely a white color and not like a pearly white to where it almost has like a silvery like shimmer to it. I do like the metallic blue. I like the darker blue, so definitely a bigger fan of the new one in terms of looks, but you know, at the time this one was probably decent, not great. I did forget to go over the accessories for Iron Patriot. You know, he does have the Norman Osborn head sculpt. We get a extra set of hands, so he's got fists and then he's got the open hands, so you can have these the two blasts that he comes with. You can port those into the hands. They do have the hinge, which is, I love that they did that. Or you can port these on the bottom of the figure as if, you know, he's in flight. So we get two of these, and those are the accessories for the Iron Patriot. But looking at the Extremis Iron Man figure, which I would have thought would have had a lot of the same pieces, and there's a fair amount, I guess, but I think it's less than probably would have initially thought. Like, this one was just basically a repaint of the Extremis figure. I'd have to double check, but you know, obviously the torso piece, because it's a star, would have been a little bit different. But between these two figures, the only same pieces are actually going to be the feet, the arms, like the upper arm and the lower arm. The shoulders, I don't know, because they have different shoulder pads on there. They could be, but I want to say the shoulders are going to be different. It's hard to say for sure. And then the lower torso piece, upper torso piece, obviously is going to be different heads. But the legs are completely different. The knees might be the same. If anything, the kneecaps might be the exact same piece. And it looks like they are. So different upper legs, different hip leg pieces, different lower legs, but same feet, same arms, the bicep and the forearm, and the same hands, and then same lower torso, different upper torso. But size-wise, Iron Patriot is actually a little bit bigger, as you can see there. But the two look cool together, but yeah, they're not as much of the same pieces as you may have initially thought, which is, you know, what I initially thought. Like, when I review this, I'm like, no way they don't do an Iron Patriot repaint. And sure enough, we eventually got one. Not quite a repaint, but does use some parts. Okay, so for articulation, we're actually going to go in reverse order. So we still got Iron Patriot here. He can look all the way up, so if you want to get him into some flight poses, he's capable of doing that, which is great. It's on a disc hinge, so he can also look down that much. You get a full rotation in that head sculpt. There, you get some pivot, I guess, in there, which is good. The shoulders are a little bit tricky. The way they have these shoulder pads, usually the shoulder pads could like move around with like Iron Man figures, but this one, they're like tight on there. So if I want to get the shoulder out, I can a little bit, but I'm going to be honest with you, like it feels like it just wants to stop there and it doesn't want to go out because it seems like it's glued here and here. There's no give to get this over that shoulder there. So I think you can only get those arms to go out that far. You can do a full rotation in there, of course. You got an upper bicep swivel in there, double jointed pinless elbow there, so that much bend there, which is nice. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge, standard horizontal hinge on the fist as well as the open hands. He's got the diaphragm cut on there, so he could tilt to his left that much, which is good. He could tilt to his right that much, which is good there. Going back a little bit and then coming forward is very little, but I mean, there is at least some, I guess. And then you get a swivel at that diaphragm as well. The way the hips are, it shows that they're dropped down significantly, and they're designed that way so we can kick pretty high up forward. The leg goes back a significant amount as well. You got an upper thigh cut in there. Double jointed pinless knee gives you that much bend there. No other swivels or anything like that at the calf or the foot. Foot hinges all the way down. You get somewhat of a hinge up, although the top of the foot, it does hit that ankle a little much. Ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet for Iron Patriot. And you know what? I think he moves around pretty good. Moving on to Dr. Doom. With the hood on, obviously he's not really going to get to look up. He can look down. That neck piece does swivel around on its own. I'm going to put the Doombot head on there so we can kind of get a better look at it. That neck piece can swivel and can kind of hinge around on its own. Otherwise, there is a disc hinge on that neck as well. So getting both points of movement works really well, and you can get like the Doombot to look straight up if you wanted to there. And then full rotation, that neck will rotate. The head could rotate on its own, but that neck really wants to move around on its own. Shoulder, you can get to go straight on out like so. Full rotation in there. Upper bicep swivel, you get a double jointed elbow. There are pins on the elbows because these are that original Dr. Doom was made quite a while ago, so it does have pins. Their wrist swivel, and they do hinge. Standard horizontal hinge on all the hands except for the trigger finger hand for the right. There is the vertical hinge on there, which is good for the gun. Now, in terms of the upper torso, we get a ball joint at the waist, so he can tilt to his left that much. He can tilt to his right that much there. You can go back, very, very little on that ball waist, and then coming forward is very little as well, and you get a swivel at that ball joint. Legs go out that far apart. That skirt piece does kind of get in the way a little bit. I mean, it's kind of cut on both sides, so you can try to move them around, but it still does limit. Kicking forward is very limited. Leg doesn't go back. You got an upper thigh cut in there somewhere, a double jointed knee that does have pins. Again, older knee, but looks good. There, you get a ankle swivel inside that armor piece, so you can swivel it around a little bit, but the foot is going to stop. You can hinge down somewhat, but you kind of have to work it over the armor to really get that hinge to go down. Hinging up is going to be pretty limited. You do have some pivot, but the way the armor goes over the sides of the ankles, it limits the pivot a little bit. Unless you just work it over the armor, then you can get it. And he's got peg holes at the bottom of his feet. And I think with this figure, you could use the same flame effect pieces for Doom onto his back, because he's got like those jetpacks on his back. I think the original Doctor Doom had smaller ones that made more sense to go clip on his back, because that's a big blast that would just be burning his back, right? So you could do that there. I guess that probably wouldn't make sense, but you could do that there. So that's Doctor Doom. Moving on to Taskmaster with the Vulcan body, which is good, but he's got the big rubber cape, and he's got the hood on, so looking up is going to be a challenge. He's really not going to be able to do it, because you could see I just popped the head off trying to get that done. Looking down, he can't really look down either, unfortunately. You can swivel the head around, but that's really all you're going to be able to do with that head and neck. The arm can go straight on out like so. You get a full rotation in there. You have the butterfly joint, so you can do some cross body there. You can get the arm to go back a little bit on that shoulder. One thing about it on the Vulcan is that it feels like there should be a little bit more room to go back, but it just doesn't quite get there, unfortunately. You got an upper bicep swivel in there. Double jointed pinless elbow gives you a little bit more than 90 degrees. That glove there does hit the bicep, so it limits it. If that glove wasn't as much, you can get a little bit more bend in there. The grip hand and the trigger finger hand have vertical hinges, which is good. The other hands have standard horizontal hinges and swivels on the wrist pegs, of course, as well. You can crunch forward on Taskmaster that much, which is good. You can go back a fair amount, but given the style of the cape, that is just going to get in the way. You got a waist swivel in there. Legs go out that far apart. He can kick forward that far. The leg goes back ever so slightly. You got an upper thigh cut in there. Double jointed pinless knee gives you that much bend there at the knee, which is nice. You're going to have a boot swivel at that boot. It doesn't want to swivel around. So the shape of the boot itself seems to go over instead of just having the cut at that top of the boot. And because it's shaped around the calf, you're not going to get a lot of swivel in there. Like, it's there, but it doesn't want to swivel around as much. So just a heads up on that. Foot hinges all the way down. You get some hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So there we go on the articulation for the Cabal. Okay, so not quite the Dark Avengers. Novar is not technically the right version. I have Warbird in there as opposed to the Moonstone Miss Marvel. That's a Hawkeye, not a Bullseye Hawkeye. I got Wolverine back there because I don't have a Dakin figure. You know, there was one released a long time ago through Hasbro, probably around the same time as that. May have been the same wave as that original Extremis Iron Man figure. And then I have a Peter Parker symbiote Spider-Man as opposed to a Matt Gargan Venom shrunken down version, which I would love to get. You know, the new Punisher body that's going to be coming. It's a bigger build with, you know, the super articulation, but a bigger body. That would be really good to get in a black costume Spider-Man in quotes because it's really Matt Gargan. That would be pretty cool. Maybe one day we will see that. Who knows? But you know, we got some of the figures for the team. I'm kind of making our way through, I guess. Okay, so here is the 85th anniversary line of figures so far. A couple of them that I'm missing. I have Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. I will be reviewing that soon in the coming days. The Walmart exclusive retro carded Venom figure is going to be amazing because he's on a super articulated body, but a very bulky body which is nice. That's supposed to ship, I think, at the end of August, early September from Walmart. Hopefully before then, that would be great. And then, of course, Odin and Hulkbuster have yet to release. Hopefully soon, those will start to begin hitting at different places. So some of these figures are going to be available on like Big Bad Toy Store. I know that they're going to begin processing pre-orders here pretty soon for the Astonishing Wolverine, the Superior Spider-Man, as well as the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. I don't know about the Iron Fist Luke Cage, but I'll have links in the video description below to Big Bad Toy Store, Amazon, Entertainment Earth, so you guys can get orders in for all of these. So you guys let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of the 85th anniversary line of figures? I think Hasbro is killing it with some of these. You know, Doctor Doom and Taskmaster, kind of a repaint because it's Vulcan body. We've seen that before, but it's an updated version of Taskmaster, which is really nice. But that Doctor Doom is essentially the same that we had gotten before, but a lot of new parts and new pieces for these other figures. So it's pretty awesome. You guys let me know down in the comments below your thoughts. What's your favorite figure from the 85th anniversary line? What do you think of this Cabal 3-pack? It's exclusive to Amazon. It is in stock. Link in the video description below to give me all your thoughts on it. And let me know if you picked it up. You're going to pick it up. I don't know if it'll stick around long enough to hit clearance. Typically, Amazon exclusives have. But you never know. We shall see what's going to happen there. But you guys let me know thoughts down in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.